What's going on, everybody? Murk back here with some more MPL action, Major Pokemon League, and this is going to be my third and final makeup game that I had to, well, make up from earlier in the season from what Bicer couldn't finish, so that's going to be cool. We're taking on Regulator, really cool guy, or just Greg. I really like him, good friend of mine, coach of the Los Angeles Clefables, and his team, very, very scary. He's got Thundurus Therian, Lando T with the Z move, Tentacruel, Volcarona with the Z move, Scizor, Gardevoir, Alolan, Mux, Celebi, Tauros, Haxorus, and Hariyama. So he's another guy that came in as a replacement coach, and he did a really good job of putting his team back together at the start, because when he first got it, it was not super desirable, but now it looks pretty scary. And if you don't remember my team, which I wouldn't blame you since I barely remember it, we've got Tapu Koko, Roserade, Gliscor, Goodra, Suicune, Alakazam, Staraptor, Breloom, Salazzle, Metagross, and Dugtrio. So I don't think I was able to use Metagross in my two previous matches, so this is the first time I can use it, which is good, because the reason I traded away Scizor was so that I could get Metagross because of reasons and stuff. But yeah, he was the one we traded Scizor to when we got Roserade, which is cool because Roserade is definitely going to put in some work this season. But anyways, let's go hop into the matchup. He's got a lot of spooky setup threats: Thundy T, Lando T, Volcarona, all things that are very dangerous to set up. And then he's got some hard hitters. He's got some Hazard Stack. He's got decent removal in the... Oops, what did I do there? Decent removal with his Tentacruel, though it's not ideal, and I guess Scizor, but default Scizor is bad. So he's got a lot of things on his team that I have to prepare for. So let's just go ahead and run into what I've got going. So the 6 I end up bringing are Tapu Koko, Staraptor, Gliscor, Goodra, Suicune, and Metagross. So falling over my words a little bit. First off, we've got a Tapu Koko. This is Expert Belt with U-Turn, T-Bolt, Brave Bird, HP Ice. This thing just gets perfect coverage against his team. It outspeeds his entire team because it's pretty slow, and it's just a huge offensive threat to his team. U-Turn lets me really punish stuff like the Celebi. Thunderbolt just dominates his team, and then Brave Bird, HP Ice are there for good coverage moves. I think Brave Bird was mainly there to... Yeah, Brave Bird was there for Volcarona. I have enough attack investment to where I can knock out any Volcarona, I believe, with a Brave Bird, and then max special attack with the boosting nature, so that my Stab, T-Bolt, and HP Ice are doing a lot of damage. This thing overall is just a huge offensive threat to him, and paired with my second breaker offensive fast duder and Dontavion, my Staraptor. Shoutouts to Staraptor for being the best thing ever. I love this thing. We've got Scarf Reckless coming again with U-Turn, Brave Bird, Double Edge, Quick Attack. I built this team right after I played Tone, and not having Quick Attack on my Scarfed Staraptor that week kind of messed me up. So I was like, you know what, I don't care if it's going to be used. We are bringing Quick Attack on this set. Staraptor really has no switch-ins on his team. Like, he doesn't have great flying resists, and his flying resists are not normal resists, so Staraptor just does an absolute buttload of work against him. If we can keep the rocks off our field, which might be hard to do, then this thing can come in for free a lot and just really pressure his team. It's a thing that can outspeed like a Choice Scarf Landorus, which would be very good, though I'm most certainly expecting setup Landorus because it can just 6-0 my team and that sort of thing. I have to look out for like Scarf Thundurus because me bringing Scarf Staraptor is pretty obvious, so him bringing a faster Scarfer would be a good counteraction, especially since he doesn't have a lot that can offensively check this. I'm running max speed to speed tie with the Volcarona, and on Tapu Koko I'm running enough speed to outrun a Thundurus. I am outrunning Thundurus. So those are those guys, my main 2 offensive mons, and then the next 4 are kind of bulky pivot win condition sort of things. So this is the cool set of the week. I brought Gliscor with Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, of course. I have Sword Stance, Ice Fang, EQ, and Roost. 204 HP, because I think that's a Toxic Orb number, letting me get the most recovery as possible. Then I have 68 attack, 4 in both defenses, and 228 speed Jolly. This speed lets me outrun a max speed Landorus T, and with 68 in attack, a basically +1 sword stance, has a very good, or is guaranteed to knock out an offensive landers after rocks, because I set a +2 and then he intimidates me. It does 88% minimum, so this is a really nice check and possibly lure to the Landorus. I could have ran like physically defensive, but I thought outspeeding it would be more important. And overall, this thing really does a ton of work against his team, because once again, he's got a very, very slow team. This outspeeds most of his team, and I think I completely forgot to speed creep on that Tauros. Oops. With anything. Anyways, that's not important, but Gliscor is just a big threat to his team, because if I get up sword stances, it's hard for him to kill me, and EQ Ice Fang is really nice coverage against his team, so hopefully I can lure out that Gliscor and get rid of it. This lets me deal with the Muck very well as long as I have my poison up. Getting poison on this thing early is a priority, so that I can potentially switch into like a Scarf Landorus and switch into a whole bunch of his team. So this is a big win condition and pivot Sortimon. Next we have another defensive pivot offensive thingy. It's AV Gudra. I mean, he's got a Volcarona and a Thunderous Therian, so I really need a bulky thing to help deal with that. We've got Rock Slide for the Volcarona, Flamethrower, Draco Meteor for good special coverage against his team, and then EQ to let me hit the it's been a while since I built the team. I think it was mainly there for like the Tentacruel and it was mainly there for Tentacruel and Scizor, or not Scizor, Muck, and I guess there's a way to get a little more chip damage on the Gardevoir if he's like AV or something like that. So this is just, it's a pivot. It's there to help deal with the Thundurus, because my team doesn't switch into Thundurus or Volcarona well. So I don't think he's going to bring Volcarona, just given that I have a fair bit that outspeeds it and not a lot that he can set up on, but I need a check to it, because if I don't prep for it and he brings it, then I lose to it, and that would suck. So yeah, I'm going to try and speed this up because we're going too long. Next, we've got Smarf, Suicune. I like Suicune, so I'm bringing a pretty cool set. Lefties with Ice Beam, Calm Mind, Scald Extrasensory, max HP, 164 defense, and 92 in special attack. I believe this special attack investment lets me knock out a Haxorus at after +1 with Ice Beam, and this defense investment lets me take a Tectonic Rage from Landorus plus an Earthquake, I believe. It lets me take a +2 Earthquake, and I can take a +1 Outrage from Haxorus, and I believe I can take 2 +1 Dragon Claws. So just nice offensive, defensive check type stuff. And lastly, we've got Ava, Metagross, rocking the Shuka Berry, Clear Body, Ice Punch, Stealth Rock, Meteor Mash, and Headbutt, just max HP, max attack. This is a nice lure to the Landorus. Fun fact, he actually can knock me out with a +2 EQ if he gets some chip damage off, or if he gets a high roll, so I probably should have ran a better spread, but this was just here to kind of check Landorus, prevent it from setting up. Landorus doesn't set up on a single one on my team unless he gets into a unless I really mess up. And this is a nice lure to it, because Clear Body Ice Punch does a whole ton of damage. I believe it puts it in range of Staraptor's Quick Attack, so that could definitely bail me out. Stealth Rock is very good against his team, because he has a lot of rock weaknesses, and he only has Tentacruel to get rid of them, which I can definitely pressure a Tentacruel with my team. And then Metagross's Dual Stab does a lot of damage against him. You could bring the Scizor, which hard walls, but I've got my Gliscor and my Suicune, which deal with it really well, so I'm not afraid of that. And yeah, that's the team. Now let's get into the battle. Okay, and here's the matchup. Greg ended up bringing Thundy T, Alolan Muck, Gardevoir, Celebi, Lando T, and Tentacruel. More or less what I expected him to bring. Didn't really think Volcarona was coming, and he didn't bring it. It was nice that he didn't bring it, because Thundy T plus Volt could have definitely overwhelmed my Gudra if I played badly around them. Looking at the matchup, I definitely think it's going to be Setup Lando and Scarf Thundy, which means that he probably has to run like either Setup Rocks on Rocks and then Setup on his Lando, or run Rock Celebi, so that's good. Toxic Spikes from the Tentacruel could be annoying, since it messes with some of my pivots and such. Metagross does really well against this team. He didn't bring the Scizor, so he doesn't have a great switch into it, though defensive Celebi could definitely check it. I'm expecting more of a defensive Celebi to take on Metagross and also be able to deal potentially with some Tapu Koko sets and such. And yeah, I decided to lead off with my Staraptor for scouting reasons, because if he brings a Scarf Thundurus, he's most likely going to lead off with it to try and counteract Scarf Staraptor lead, which would be pretty obvious against him because Raptor just does so much damage. So we are just going to go ahead and lead off with our Staraptor, Regulator, sending out that challenge. Make sure to go check out Greg, by the way. He's a great guy, makes good content, and he is going to end up leading off with his Thundurus. So this tells me right away that he's most likely Choice Scarf, but I'm not going to test that. I'm going to hard switch out into my dedicated switch into that being Goodra. If he hard switched out there, that would tell me that he was not Scarf, but he's going to go right for the U-turn, so that immediately tells me he is probably Choice Scarfed, unless he pulled a really hard bluff. I have no concrete evidence, but I mean, come on, would he stay in, risking me to like double edge him in the face? Anyways, he goes into Tentacruel, and I don't want to get knocked off or anything, and I want to make the aggressive switch into Tapu Koko in case he tries to lay up Toxic Spikes. And I'm going to lay up my Electric Surge here, which is good because I put a lot of pressure on his team, as he goes for the Acid Spray right here, and that does quite a bit of damage. Another one will knock me out. So there's a couple of things he could do here. He could be Choice Scarfed, or he could be Walking Berry, but if he's a Scarfed Tentacruel, then that's pretty cool, and I really didn't think he would be since he wants like support on it. So what I'm going to do is fire off the U-turn, see if he stayed in, then he was either Scarf and he'd kill me, or it'd be Walking Berry and he'd try and knock me out with the second one. But I'm going to build the U-turn out in, as I did think Thundurus would come in, as what I can do here is go into my Gliscor, but I have absolutely no intention of leaving this thing in. All I wanted to do is get the Toxic Orb so that I could be able to switch into the Muck, and now what I'm going to do is go hard into my Metagross, just in case he tried to predict my Goodra and go for like something, I don't know, like Superpower maybe. I'm going to go into Metagross though, and he's going to go out into his Landers, and he's going to pull a smart play, scouting if I have the Shuka Berry and Ice Punch. It's pretty obvious that I do, as I'm just going to go for it right here. And it's kind of obvious that he was just baiting it out to scout, but I really didn't want to make that risk turn 1, or not turn 1, it's turn 5. But he's just going to go into the Tentacruel, as I'm going to hit him with the Ice Punch. It does a little chip damage, and he doesn't have an item, so he could definitely be that Walking Berry. He's going to go for the Scald as I go for the Zen Headbutt, and he does burn me. I kind of said, it's probably just going to burn me, but it's whatever, because I can fire off a Zen Headbutt and do a really big chunk of damage to him, to the point where I can knock him out with a bunch of Mons on my team. And now what I'm going to do here is just go for the Stealth Rock. He could just try and spam Rapid Spin against me, but I want to get my rocks up, as he is going to go hard into his Celebi, because I did kind of expect that he wouldn't want to let his Tentacruel go in case he needed to get off a spin later. Celebi's here, and his plays are, he either sets up in my face because I'm burnt, he goes for like a U-turn or a Baton Pass or something, or he goes for the Earth Power to try and knock, or the Shadow Ball to try and knock me out. So my safest play overall is to go into Staraptor, because his only play that would hit me is like Ancient Power or Psychic, and that was not the play to make. So he does go for the Substitute, and that kind of tells me he's either, because he didn't show lefties, that makes me think that he's most likely Baton Pass. So I'm going to just go for the U-turn. I don't want to be in front of whatever he Baton Passes out into, so I'm going to be able to break the sub and just go out into my Goodra, because this thing can't touch me. If he was leftovers, I would have more considered Subseed as an option, but Subseed wouldn't make a ton of sense when I have a Goodra, which is immune. And he's going to go out into his Gardevoir right here, so that's spooky. Because my Metagross is burnt, I don't need it for anything, since it's not super helpful, and what I can do is just go into it and scout what kind of set he is. So having Metagross burnt was kind of nice, because I don't need it as much, so I could use it as more of a scouting tool for the rest of this match. But he's going to lay up the Reflect, and immediately that tells me that he's going to try and pass a Substitute into his Landorus Therian and try and sweep me. And I can't allow that, so what I have to do immediately is go hard into my Gliscor and start setting up. Because rocks are up, and because he has Reflect up, I essentially need to get up 2 Swords Dances so that I can knock out a offensive Landorus with my Ice Fang. So he's going to go directly into his Tentacruel here, but I should be faster than it unless he is fast as well, but I don't think he is. So I'm going to be able to click Swords Dance right here, and I can knock it out with the EQ. I guess he was maybe thinking, he was probably sacking it off or something like that, but maybe he's hoping he could get a rapid spin off, but I'm going to outspeed and get rid of the Tentacruel, which is really good. So now rocks are here to stay, and I don't think he's going to go hard Landorus. If he does, I have the ability to 2-hit KO him with Ice Fang, and he doesn't know what my moves are yet, so he's going to go into the Celebi, and I'm just going to go for the Ice Fang right here, see if I can break his sub or flinch him or something like that. I probably should have gone right for the Swords Dance again, but I didn't, as he is going to go for the Swords Dance, so I'm like, yep, okay, he is sub SD pass, and he's probably got Rock Polish Landorus with like Super Sonic Sky Strike in the back, so I can't allow him to do what he's going to do. So I have to go for a second Swords Dance because I also don't have the firepower to break a sub at essentially neutral because of the Reflect Up. So now I'm basically at +2 with the Reflect, and I can break his sub on the Ice Fang, which is fantastic. If I missed, I think I would have just lost the game right there because it would give his Landorus a free turn to set up. And if he was Sky Strike or Continental Crush, then I would lose right away. So he's going to go into the Landorus now. He's going to take the rocks. I'm assuming he's going to be a Z move because he needs the extra power to knock out my Gliscor. And once again, I'm in a situation where if I miss the Ice Fang, I'm going to lose. But I hit it, and he shows that he's... Oh my god, no, stop that. Oops. Anyways, he shows he's not bulky, and I knock him out. Stupid pop-ups on my computer. My bad. He's going to go into his Thundurus now, and I know for sure that he's going to click HP Ice. He can't deal with this threat, because Gliscor can kind of win the game now, especially since I got rid of rocks, or I have rocks on the field, which pressures his Thundurus to come in anytime that I have my Gliscor out, because he can't kill it otherwise. And yeah, he's just going to go for the HP Ice. Metagross is my play because I don't want my Goodra getting weakened for no reason, because I want it to be able to take all the hits, and I don't need my Metagross for anything. He's going to go into his Celebi right here as I click Meteor Mash. I forgot that Tentacruel died at this point, so that influenced me from not going for the Ice Punch, because Meteor Mash I thought would be able to knock out Tentacruel possibly after rocks, so that was kind of stupid. But anyways, I kill the Celebi and I get the attack raise, which is kind of nice because it forces him to attack me and not double around. But he's going to go right into his Muck, as I'm just going to click Mash. I don't really care what he does because I have my Gliscor in the back, which can deal with this thing, and he's going to go for the Shadow Sneak and knock me out. So that doesn't really tell me anything about his set. But yeah, my play is definitely just click Mash in case he tried to be cute and pursue me or something like that. But I have my Gliscor in, and based on what he has left on his team, he's got the Muck, he's got Gardevoir, and his Thundurus. So basically, Gliscor kind of just wins the game at this point. I'm going to go for the EQ, and it does a lot, and he shows that he is actually Figgy Berry Muck, so that's good bring. It's a pretty cool set. I think AV might have been a little better in this matchup, but the reason he has Figgy Berry is because he does have Curse, so that's cool. But I'm not afraid of this because Alolan Muck doesn't get Ice Punch, and what I can do is just spam EQ until it dies. So I'm going to go for the EQ right here. It could possibly knock him out. I didn't run a calc or anything, but I thought it might. It's not going to do enough, though, as he's going to live, and he's going to be able to fire off a knockoff, which is going to do a lot, but I'm a Gliscor, so I can take it, and because of Poison Heal being Poison Heal, I'm going to be able to heal up quite a bit. So here I did consider going for the Ice Fang, and if I did, I would have looked like a Dawn because I would have caught this Thundurus, but EQ was overall my safest play because this Thundurus cannot beat my team because I have Stealth Rocks up. So I go for the EQ, I'm not going to let my Gliscor die, and now what I can just do is go into my Goodra because it hard walls and that sort of thing. So Goodra is going to come out, and he, I believe, is just going to go for the Hidden Power Ice, trying to catch me. I did consider staying in there, predicting like a U-turn or something, but it wasn't really worth it. And now here, I thought to myself, how can I possibly lose this game? And the only way that he could potentially win is if he was healing Wish Gardevoir and he healed back up his Thundurus, and he somehow managed to break my team. So knowing that, and knowing he's locked into HP Ice, I'm going to pull the double out into my Staraptor, basically preventing him from healing up his Thundurus, and this also allows me to save more differential because at this point I'm going to win. But if he healed up his Thundurus, it would have been more annoying, and I might have potentially lost him on very professional things. So I get that prediction right. I thought it was a pretty good play on my part, and now his Thundurus is in range of rocks, so he has to attack me here, and he's basically forced to just click Thunderbolt or Hidden Power Ice. But I have my Goodra. He is going to go for the HPI, so I could have stayed in with Staraptor and taken that hit, possibly, but then again, it's a Thundy T. I didn't bother calculating. I probably would have just died. So he's going to go for another HP Ice. He couldn't knock me out even with 2 crits. Maybe 2 crits could have killed me, but I just click Flamethrower here, get rid of this Thundurus, and all he has left is a weak Alolan Muck, and I'm up 5-0, and I'm going to be able to win this game 5-0 because I can just switch into my Suicune and be able to take a hit, except that his Muck is actually going to die to Stealth Rocks, so yeah, that's cool. Muck goes down to rocks, and we are going to take this game 5-0. This was a really tough matchup. He had a lot of big setup threats which could have done me in, and I had to play it really, really well to prevent him from sweeping me, because if I didn't make the plays I did with Gliscor when he started setting up his screens, I would have just lost to that Landorus. And like, if I missed one of my Ice Fangs against that Lando or against the Celebi, I also would have lost. So that shows you how close this game was. Well, no, it didn't matter against the Celebi except for when he was behind a sub. So if I let him get a sub into Lando, I lost, and if I missed an Ice Fang when he tried to set up, I would have lost. So I'm glad I didn't. I'm definitely glad I didn't. Well, I'm not sure if it was a guaranteed loss because I did have Suicune, which could take any hit. But it would have definitely made it a tougher game because I would have lost my Gliscor, which was like my best mon to beat his team. So yeah, that was a really great game. No hacks, which I don't think. Yeah, there wasn't really any notable hacks aside from like Scald Burn on Metagross, which was whatever. It turned out to not be a huge deal. And we got a 5-0 victory, which I'm always okay with. And that actually puts us into positive differential. So now we're sitting at 2-3. And we finally caught up on our games. We went 2-1 in our catch-up ones, and now we're going to move on to just the rest of the regular season. And next up, we play Carney Hobo, who we played in the NPL, and we're looking to cash in again and see if we can get a winning streak going and make it into the playoffs. That's the goal as always. So hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a really fun battle. Greg's a really great guy, so make sure to go check him out. And hope you guys enjoyed my super professional recording in this video. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.